I remember countless times when my father shared life lessons while working on the old radio in his workshop. Those moments were calm, yet full of wisdom, teaching me that life's path can be unexpected and tests your resolve. Years later, even after settling into my own home, that sense of preparedness stayed with me. One crisp November morning, I followed my usual weekend routine, enjoying the sun as I polished my 2008 Bullitt Mustang. While others found peace in golf or naps, I found mine in car washing, where my thoughts wandered freely. I had grown used to viewing each day as a gift, not knowing how drastically things were about to change. The weather forecast hinted at a rare stretch of warm autumn days, giving me a little more time with my Mustang before switching to my winter Jeep. As I organized my car supplies, a car suddenly screeched to a stop in front of my house. It was Judy, my mother-in-law, her face red and tear-streaked. She rushed toward me and grabbed me, crying uncontrollably. "Come inside, Judy," I said softly. I guided her to the kitchen and sat her down. "Would you like some tea?" I asked as she muttered through her tears. After moving her car and calling my wife Penny downstairs, I returned with tea and a slice of chocolate cake. Judy and Penny, sitting close, looked more like sisters than mother and daughter. At 25 and 43, they shared the same tall frame and long hair, with only a few signs of age marking Judy. "Thank you, Donnie," Judy said, her voice breaking. "Pen, you're lucky to have him. You'll never know what it's like to find out your husband is cheating." I was stunned. Ed, Penny's dad, was unfaithful. Judy, still beautiful and kind, deserved better. Penny tried to explain, saying men are biologically wired to spread their genes, a theory she had learned in college. "Society excuses men for it, but condemns women," she added. "It's not about other men," Judy said, her voice trembling. "It's about your father, who promised to be loyal." The doorbell rang, cutting the tension. I opened the door to find Ed, looking defeated. "Is Judy here?" he asked quietly. I nodded and stepped outside, letting him in. Taking up the hose, I resumed washing my car, trying to clear my mind, when laughter broke out behind me. As I turned around, Penny wrapped her arms around me, resting her head on my shoulder. "Donnie, do you love me?" she asked. "Of course, Penny. You know that," I said. "I'm dealing with a family crisis, and I need your help," she continued. "Can you cook the steaks and help calm my mom down? They might actually get divorced this time." "Has this happened before?" I asked. "Yeah, several times," Penny said. "They love each other but can't stop this cycle. Dad seems serious about changing now. He even suggested getting help, which he's always resisted. But it seems my mom is reaching her limit." "Maybe she should have reached it sooner," I said. "What do you mean?" Penny looked surprised. "They're adults, Penny. They have to face the consequences of their choices. Maybe if your mom hadn't tolerated this for so long, your dad would have realized sooner that he'd pay a price for his actions." Penny's eyes welled up with tears. I hugged her. "I'll help," I said. "Donnie, this is easy for you," she said, crying. "Your parents were perfect. You've never faced this. I don't want my parents to split. I want our future kids to have loving grandparents, and for us to be one big family. Okay, honey, I'll grill the steaks. You talk to your mom, and I'll talk to your dad. When dinner's ready, we can all sit on the terrace and get them to talk." Though I didn't fully agree, I loved Penny too much to refuse. I understood her wish to keep her family together. Most of us do. We hold our parents to a standard, even looking past their flaws just to keep peace. I spent the day with my father-in-law, discussing my Mustang and pretending to listen as he bragged about an 80s Bullitt Mustang, which I knew didn't exist. He shifted topics to sports and grilling, acting like the authority on being a man. I played along, even though I'd rather be washing my car. "So, what's going on with you and Judy?" I finally asked. He looked stunned, almost breaking down. "I never meant to hurt her," he said. "She wasn't supposed to find out." I couldn't believe him. If he didn't want to hurt her, why betray her? I stayed calm, though I was furious inside, imagining him hurting Penny in the same way. I thought Judy deserved better, someone like my dad or Uncle Steve, who would have cherished her. But I smiled at him, holding back my true thoughts. About an hour later, Judy and Penny joined us on the terrace. We ate, and the dinner was enjoyable. Ed had mastered the look of a sad puppy. He was spewing more nonsense than a herd of cows. "Part of my problem is that in recent years I've drifted away from the church," he said. "I need a dose of a good book to get me back on track." I glanced at him from the other end of the table, half expecting him to be struck by lightning. When that didn't happen, I shouted, "Sorry!" and bolted inside, heading down to the basement. I shut every door behind me and buried my face in a pillow on the couch. I laughed until I cried. He was trying to say anything he thought would redeem him. When I stopped laughing, my eyes were still wet and my face was flushed. I came back and sat down at the table. Penny gave me a strange look. Ed's expression was as innocent as fresh snow, as if waiting to be deemed a saint. Judy looked at me, making me uneasy. Her expression said it all. She was in deep emotional pain, on the verge of cutting this man out of her life forever and hoping her daughter and I would help her make the right choice. "So, Donnie, do you think counseling could be the answer?" she asked. I looked at Ed, who subtly nodded at me, and then at Penny, who was hoping to save her parents' marriage. She nodded too, almost imperceptibly. Then I met Judy's eyes. There was no hint of deceit. I did it purely for selfish reasons. I knew Penny would be angry if I didn't. I lied. "Counseling is meant to help you work through problems in your marriage," I said. "A good therapist can sometimes help you see things about yourself and the relationship that might go unnoticed. They help you spot behavior patterns that aren't obvious." It wasn't entirely false. I'd heard it on a show about therapy on the Science Channel, so it was probably true in some cases. Judy believed me, nodded, and said, "Okay, we'll try." She reached across the table to take Ed's hand and smiled at him. Penny looked at me, glowing with joy. I felt sick. I'm a predator. Sometimes I skip vegetables and only eat meat so I can have more steak or roast. But that day, I almost gagged. I felt awful for what I had done. "Sorry to interrupt, ladies," I said, "but I need to show Ed something about my car." While they cleared the table and loaded the dishwasher, I led Ed to the garage. "Hey, your car's not in here," he said, smiling. "It's in the driveway." I grabbed him by the collar and shoved him forcefully against the garage wall, causing the clock to fall and break on the floor. "Listen carefully," I whispered. "This is the first and last time I lie to save your sorry, cheating self. If you hurt her again, you'll have bigger problems than divorce. Understand?" He nodded quickly. I pushed him against the wall again for emphasis. Then we went back inside. "They sure don't make them like that anymore, do they, Ed?" I said, returning to the kitchen with a smile. Ed tried to grin, but his head hurt and he was stunned. No one had ever spoken to him that way. Penny came out of the pantry and noticed something I hadn't. "Dad, you've got a bump on your head," she said. "Where did that come from? Are you okay?" I laughed. "A clock fell off the wall and hit Ed while we were in the garage. His head's as tough as a rock. He broke the clock. He's a tough old guy." Ed nodded mechanically. A month and a half later, just 3 days after Christmas, I was holding Judy's hand as we walked into the morgue. The room was unexpectedly cool, and a man who looked almost as lifeless as the bodies he tended greeted us. "I'm sorry for your loss," he said, with a smile that failed to be either friendly or comforting. It just looked creepy. He led us to a raised table and removed the sheet with a flourish that could make illusionists jealous. I half expected him to shout, "Voila!" The reactions varied as we looked at Ed's lifeless body. Penny collapsed to the floor, sobbing. Judy nodded and turned away. I went into shock, my mind racing with absurd thoughts. The body didn't look as grimy, dark, or bloody as I had imagined. Then logic set in. The body was probably prepped for an autopsy. The bullet holes weren't neat circles like in movies. They were ragged slits. It was clear whoever did this was deeply disturbed. "Can you identify the deceased?" the morgue employee asked. Judy and Penny nodded sadly. "I'm sorry for your loss. Have a good day," he said as he turned away. Judy and I took Penny's arms and led her out. The detective who brought us was waiting. He put on his hat and approached us. "So the deceased was your husband?" he asked Judy. She nodded, squeezing my hand. "When he didn't come home from work, I got worried. Ed always called," she said. The detective sat us down and offered a drink. I declined after glancing at the old coffee maker. "What happened to him?" Penny asked. "I can't share all the details, but it'll be in the news soon. Your husband, your father, was found shot at the Sleazy Easy Motel. A woman there with him said her husband burst in, found them together, and shot your father 8 times before using the last bullet on himself." As we left the detective's office, Judy's composed exterior crumbled, and she cried on my shoulder. I took them home and did my best to comfort them. Friends and neighbors came by to express their condolences. Tanya, my neighbor, brought over a tray of treats. She hugged me and asked how I was doing. Tanya was striking, with short blonde hair and a fit yet curvy figure. She was the type who could chat or play sports and then dress up and look stunning. "How are you holding up?" she asked. I shrugged. "It's okay, we're friends," she said. "I saw him here often, chatting with you while you worked on your Mustang. If my husband spent as much time on me as you do on that car, I'd be thrilled." "Tanya," I said quietly, "I couldn't stand him. He was a chronic cheater and it was just who he was." She chuckled. And Judy is so kind, I added. Once she's over this, she'll be better off. You're wrong, she said. Women, especially of her generation, don't move on. He was her first everything. She loved him no matter what. Without him, she'll be lost. Tanya was partly wrong. Judy's resentment of Ed deepened. At first, she refused to attend his funeral. I convinced her to go for Penny's sake. Penny was upset with both of us. I didn't want to speak at Ed's funeral because I had nothing good to say. One of his friends did the honors. His eulogy was telling. We're here to say goodbye to Ed Bauer. Ed was Ed. You should have known him. Even after 45 years of friendship, he couldn't find anything kind to say. Life was hard for Judy after the funeral. Small things, like TV scenes involving infidelity, made her angry. Penny and I often discussed how to help her. Penny seemed to move on more easily, as Ed wasn't a daily part of her life. 3 months later, we hosted a gathering with friends and invited every eligible man we could think of for Judy. At 43, she looked youthful, more like Penny's sister. The issue wasn't finding men they were interested. It was Judy. She was kind and sweet, but didn't know how to flirt or socialize. When she started dating at 18, Ed, already twice divorced at 25, charmed her and married her. He was the only man she'd ever known. Judy didn't know how to navigate the social scene. We didn't expect success right away and thought we'd need more gatherings before seeing any progress. The issue began after the party. While cleaning up, I spotted Penny's phone on the counter. It buzzed with a new message. Meet me tomorrow at the same place at 12. Shocked, I scrolled through the previous messages and found out Penny had been making plans with another man. My mind reeled. How was this happening? We had a very active relationship. So when did she find time for someone else? Holding that phone, I felt sick and foolish. Penny had defended her father's cheating, saying it was just his nature. Maybe she was similar, taking after him. I was expected to act like Judy, accepting and forgiving. Judy loved Ed despite everything and forgave him repeatedly. Maybe her deepest anger came from not being able to forgive him one last time after he died. Penny interrupted my thoughts, smiling. You're not helping clean up, but that's okay. Let's go to the bedroom, she said. I need to work on the breaks, I replied, watching her reaction shift to disappointment and anger. How long will it take? She asked. All night, if I do them all, I said. Can we try tomorrow? She hesitated. Maybe I have other plans tomorrow, she said with a smile. Her words made me angry. I knew something was off, and whatever was happening, it would end now. I wish you'd just come to bed, she said. I need to work on the breaks after hosting your mom's party all day, I responded. If you love me, you'll wait, she said. If you love me, you'll let me finish, I shot back. What's wrong, Donnie? She asked. Usually you're always interested, and today, after helping my mom, you're not. Women today kept telling me how lucky I am to have you, she continued. Even Tanya joked about what she'd do if I wasn't around. Things can wait until tomorrow, I said, walking away. Okay, she called after me. I realized her urgency was because she wouldn't be interested tomorrow. She'd pretend to be tired after meeting the man at the motel. Maybe I was overthinking it. But I remembered a story from a show about a jealous husband who ruined a car thinking his wife was cheating, only to find she bought it as a gift for him. It ended in divorce. The next morning, I went to work as usual. Penny made breakfast and leaned over to serve bacon. I hugged and kissed her. So last night your car won, but today you're ready? She teased. Sorry, I said. I love you, Pen, and kissed her deeply. What's gotten into you this morning? She asked, smiling. I just wanted you to know how much I appreciate you, I said, hoping it would stop her from making a regrettable decision. If I was wrong, no harm done. I went to work and focused on my tasks, finishing early. At 11:30, I left. Penny called as I stepped out. Hey, darling, she said. Want to have lunch? Sure, I said, relieved. At home or out? Wait, I have another call, she said, pausing. Moments later, she returned. Can we reschedule for tomorrow? Mom needs me. I'll be busy tomorrow, I replied and hung up. I called Judy. Hi, how's your day? She asked cheerfully. Better after talking to my favorite brother-in-law, she joked. I'm your only one, I said dryly. Still my favorite, she laughed. Have you talked to Penny today? I asked. Yes, she mentioned wanting to chat with me. Great. Just wanted to invite you both to dinner, I said. Sounds nice, she replied. This call delayed me, but it confirmed Penny was checking if I was at work. I drove to the motel and spotted her car. I bribed the cleaning lady to unlock the door. Inside, I saw a familiar back. Pulling him off the bed, I threw him to the floor and hit him. He didn't fight back. Donnie, stop! You'll liquidate him! Penny shouted, trying to intervene. I stood, brushed her hands away, and said calmly, "Don't touch me again." I called my secretary to say I wouldn't be in. Then I called 911 to report the incident. Penny sat speechless, trying to talk, but I told her to stay quiet. "Donnie, when we get home," she started. "We don't have a home," I said. "Stay with your mom, Penny. I won't live with a cheater." The police arrived. "I'm the one who called," I said. "You look fine," an officer noted. "I'm not," I replied, gesturing at Rick, still unconscious. I was handcuffed and taken away as an ambulance arrived. I stayed silent in the police car despite the officer's questions. At the station, I was processed and held as a suspect. They had no proof yet, only suspicions. I was put in a cell with others, mostly disheveled or drunk. Sitting on a bench at the back, I used the time to think about my next move. It was the right time to plan my next steps. Knowing your spouse might be unfaithful is one thing. Facing it is entirely different. Emotional ties complicate things, and relationships change over time. Sometimes people grow apart and make drastic choices, leading to a divorce that can be a fresh start for both. Other times, couples stay together just to make each other miserable. But my situation wasn't like that. I deeply loved Penny and planned to spend my life with her. That's why finding her with Rick in that motel hurt so much. It felt like part of my soul was torn away. I didn't understand it. We had a good relationship and were close. Rick was older, overweight, balding, and nearly her mom's age. Why would she choose him? She had pursued me when we first met at a bar, where she kept appearing near me all night and even made the first move with a silly joke. I was captivated by her from the start. Now, seeing her with Rick left me wondering how our neighbor Tanya would react. As I was thinking, a policeman called Don Osmond. I approached the bars as he opened the door, with 2 officers behind him, hands on their holsters. "Are you going to shoot me?" I asked. "No," he replied. "You're out on bail." "By who?" I asked. "Does it matter?" he said impatiently. "What's the charge? And who posted bail?" I asked. "Too many questions," he said. "Do you want to get out or not?" "Officer," I said, "I know you deal with a lot of people and can get jaded, but this is new for me. It's my first time here." The other officers glanced at him. "Okay, ask," he said. "It's 2 p.m., and I've been here for almost 2 hours. I caught my wife with my neighbor today, lost my temper, and just don't want to see them again. If Penny is bailing me out with my money, I'd rather stay." "Sorry, man." "It's her," he said. "She was crying, but I wouldn't trust it. Some older guy and his lawyer spoke to the prosecutor. It looks like they won't press charges, but you'll need to stay a couple of days until you're allowed to post bail. You have no record, and no one died." They left, giving me sympathetic looks. Other inmates stared, probably wondering why I didn't leave. I knew Penny was trying to bail me out of guilt. I told the truth. I wanted nothing to do with her. It hit me that I had convinced Judy to forgive Ed once, but now I couldn't do the same for Penny. Maybe this was how Judy felt each time Ed cheated. I couldn't fathom how she endured it repeatedly. She must have been stronger than me. It's strange how thinking about someone can make them appear. Just as I wondered if Penny would confess to Judy, the officers returned. "Osmond, another visitor," one said. "A beautiful woman, Judy, I think. She's in the interrogation room. Want to see her?" "Yes," I replied. They cuffed me, opened the cell, and led me to a room with glass panels and small holes for conversation. I sat down and faced Judy in silence. "Hi, Donnie," she said. "What happened? Penny didn't tell you?" I asked. "Only that you fought Rick, went to jail, and refused her bail," she replied. "But I know something more is wrong." "She cheated on me," I said. Her expression changed. "With him? Why?" she asked, shocked. Before we could continue, a tall man in a cheap suit interrupted. "Are you Don Osmond?" I nodded. "Join us in the conference room when you're done," he said. The officers uncuffed me, noting I wasn't a flight risk. Judy urged me not to act impulsively. "I'll call you tomorrow," I said. "If I'm released, I'll send Penny to you." In the conference room, I saw Penny, Rick, and 2 men. Penny stood up, but I shouted at Rick to stay back. "If anyone comes near me, I'm going back to my cell." "Mr. Osmond," said the district attorney Willis Drummond, "we have a proposal to settle this peacefully." The lawyer Daniels spoke up. "Don, this was an accident with serious implications. You don't need a criminal record affecting your life." "I'm not concerned," I replied. "My career won't be impacted." Daniels continued. "There's no reason for anyone to suffer more. Who's innocent here?" I asked. "I'm the only one hurt." Penny started crying. "I realized the life I thought I had with her and my trust in Rick were illusions." "What about Tanya?" Rick said. She's innocent. Tanya deserves the truth, I said. She shouldn't be deceived, Rick pleaded. Please don't tell her. Daniels laid out their offer. No charges if I stayed silent. I'll take the charges and demand a jury trial, I said. 12 jurors will understand why I acted as I did. I'll include Rick in my divorce and testify in Tanya's case. The 4 huddled and whispered before turning back to me. What do you want? They asked. I won't tell Tanya Sue or mention you in my divorce, but you must agree to testify if needed, drop the charges, and stay at least 15 meters from me without permission. Agreed, Daniel said with a relieved smile. Wait, I know I'm within 15 meters now, but it starts once I leave. Right? I said to Rick. Do what you want with her. She's not mine anymore. After the divorce, she's yours. Can I go? Penny shouted. No, Donnie, don't. Willis, walk me to the counter so I can get my things. I need my wallet for a cab, I said. Penny's cries echoed as I left. When I got home, Tanya was outside. Where have you been? She asked. My husband was in the wrong place and got hurt. Poor guy. This is bad, Tanya, I said. Sorry, rough day. Talk later. Send your wife over, she said. I don't have a wife anymore, I replied, and walked inside. The phone rang. It was Penny's, the same phone that exposed her infidelity. I let it ring. It rang again, this time Judy's number. I answered. Judy, can you... Donnie, you need... I hung up. After 30 minutes, Judy called again. I picked up. Donnie, are you there? She asked. Hi, Judy. I had to give Penny some tea and sleeping pills. She's hysterical, blaming everyone. I'm not surprised, I said. She blames Rick and you, Judy said. Says he tricked her and you're being cold. How am I behaving? I asked. Not like me, she said. She expected you to be more forgiving. Will it ever get better? I asked. No, she said softly. You doubt yourself, wonder why they strayed, and compare yourself to others. Trust is lost, and every delay or absence feels like betrayal. It never really goes away. Judy, I lied to you, I admitted, when I urged you to go back to Ed. I thought you should have left him. You lied because Penny wanted that and you loved her, she said. I knew you're a bad liar. Your eyes told the truth. Ed was foolish. No one he cheated with was worth a fraction of you, I said. It runs in the family, she replied. I can't believe she was with Rick, I said. I'm not like you, Judy. I won't take Penny back just to be hurt again. You can't fight nature, I said, recalling what Penny once said about her father. Maybe, Judy sighed. You can train animals with effort and rewards, I said, but I won't do that with Penny. I won't reward her for staying loyal. Cheaters will cheat, I said. Maybe we're just good people who loved the wrong partners. You raised a great daughter. I have nothing, she said. Then let's not waste more time. If we move on, we prove we're strong. If we keep hoping for change, we're fools. You deserve better, Judy, and so do I. Who are you talking to, Mom? Penny asked. Is that Donnie? Did you tell him how sorry I am and that it wasn't my fault? Bye, Judy, I said. You seem busy. In the following days, Judy and I talked often, and neighbors, including Tanya, brought food and visited. I hired a lawyer and prepared a fair divorce agreement, splitting everything evenly. Though it wasn't ideal for me, I didn't want Penny left with nothing. I had no intention of reconciliation. If needed, I would involve Rick or take drastic steps to protect myself. My lawyer questioned Rick, uncovering details about his 6-month affair with Penny. I suspected it wasn't the first. I arranged to meet Judy and Penny to deliver the divorce papers personally. When I arrived, Judy let me in, and Penny rushed over. I've missed you so much, she said. Penny, I'm here to make this easier, I said. I didn't want a stranger handing you divorce papers. No, Donnie, she cried. I'll stop. It won't happen again. Give me another chance. I'll go to counseling. It won't help, I said. This affair lasted over 6 months, and Rick might not be the first. How could you lie to me and betray Tanya? It was just Zex, Penny said. We're more than that. We're less now, I said. Our vows are broken, and this ring means nothing. Please, she begged. No, Penny, I can't live this way. It's not fair, she said. What if I hurt myself? Then there's nothing more I could do, I said. I'd just step aside. You have to forgive me, she pleaded. You love me? Penny, be quiet, Judy interjected. Mom, stay out of it, Penny snapped. He won't forgive me, and I can't eat or sleep. I love him so much. Enough, Judy yelled. You're acting like the world revolves around you. I forgave your father over and over, and maybe that made you think forgiveness is automatic. But Donnie isn't me. You had a good marriage and ruined it. Now live with the consequences. Donnie's hurting too, and I can't believe you did this to someone who loved you so much. Then again, your father did the same to me. I'm glad he's gone, I wish I'd left him sooner. But, Mom, I'm sorry and hurting too, Penny said. I admitted my mistake. You caused this, Judy said. You have to take responsibility. I agree, but I don't think it's bad enough for divorce, Penny said. Isn't that for Donnie to decide? Judy replied. Marriage takes two willing partners. Stop saying that, Penny screamed. She looked at me. Haven't I been a good wife? I kept the house, cooked, gave you everything you wanted. Why can't you see the good I did instead of this one mistake? I'm lost without you, crying all the time. Please forgive me. I promise it won't happen again. I left the room without a word. At the door, I turned back. Penny, get a lawyer. I want this over soon. I need to move on, I said. When I got home, Tanya was outside. Hey, Donnie, wait, she called, running over. She wore worn jean shorts and a sweat-soaked t-shirt from an obscure band, clearly from gardening. I need to tell you something, she said. Tanya's curvy figure was suddenly noticeable to me, now that Penny was out of the picture. Why are you looking at me like that? She asked. Sorry, I said. Donnie, just know Rick and I are here if you need anything. I think it'd help him too. He hasn't recovered from being beaten and losing his money. Helping someone else could boost his confidence, she said. I glanced at her chest, and she noticed, crossing her arms with a smile. You'll be okay, but remember, I'm married, and you're not that type, she said. I forced a smile. I know you're going through a tough time. Whether you and Penny work it out or not, maybe a break would help. I can arrange a trip through my travel agency, she offered. I thought about telling her the truth about Rick, but decided against it. Hurting her wouldn't help anyone. Rick might actually be trying to be a better husband now. It's a singles cruise, 10 days of sun and fun. It might be good for you, she continued. I'll think about it, Tanya, but I need to wait for the divorce, I said. See? You're kind. I hope Penny realizes what she's lost. Let me know about the cruise, she said. I focused on finalizing the divorce and rebuilding my life. I requested a transfer and explained why. My boss found an opening at our Phoenix plant, perfect for a fresh start. The warm weather and year-round driving appealed to me. I had to leave everything and everyone I knew, but that's how new beginnings work. I told Judy about my move, and she was sad but understanding. She, still mourning Ed's death, was also thinking of moving to live with her sister and mother in New York. I asked her not to tell Penny about my plans. I won't have to, Judy said. Penny's obsessed. She spends her time watching you, terrified you'll move on, especially with Tanya. She cried for hours after seeing you talk to her. She laughed at the thought. It's not impossible, I said. It really is, she replied. You love her, Donnie. I saw you struggling with it the other day. I'm glad you couldn't forgive her. She's my daughter, and I love her, but I love you too. We both know who she is. At least when this is over, you'll have a friend in Arizona when New York gets too cold, I said. And you'll have a place in the Rotten Apple for a bit of non-New England culture, Judy laughed. Promise me we'll stay in touch. I have no choice, I said. I've only truly loved two people, and one doesn't love me back. So that leaves you. Judy's tip about Penny tailing me was helpful. I started noticing her whenever I went out. One night I went to the movies and spotted her following me. I decided to play along, pretending to wait for someone and buying a ticket through my app. I called Judy to tell Penny that my date was inside the theater. Penny approached, fuming. I dashed into the theater, picked up my ticket, and entered as Penny was stopped by security. She couldn't find out which of the 15 movies I was seeing. 2 hours later, I exited, waving as if I were saying goodbye to someone. Stop it, Donnie, Penny said. I know you were alone. I followed you. Get used to it, I said. I won't be alone forever. One day I'll meet someone and start over. You already have, Penny said. She's just like me. You need to get past my one mistake. I laughed and drove away, realizing Judy was right. I trusted her not to reveal my plans, but I still needed a way to leave without Penny finding out. The solution came from an unexpected source. The next day, I heard a knock at my back door. Rick stood there, nervous and unsure. I didn't want to come. She made me, he said, glancing at Tanya on their porch. She waved. Come in, I said loudly enough for Tanya to hear. I did what you asked and appreciate your silence with Tanya. But Penny's threatening to tell her everything if I don't help her win you back. She thinks it's unfair that only one of us keeps our marriage. I stared at him, realizing this could work in my favor. Rick, go along with it, I said. He looked surprised. Does she know about the cruise Tanya booked? I asked. No, I don't think so, he said. Then tell her about it. Make it seem like a chance for us to talk, trapped on the same ship. Okay, anything to save my marriage, he said. The next day, Tanya called. "Donnie, Penny found out about the cruise. Should I book her on a different one or put her in your cabin?" she asked. "It's a singles cruise, but I could pair you up." "Do you get a commission for these bookings?" I asked. "Yes, but I don't push that on friends," she said. "Tanya, let her pay for it all. You're doing me a huge favor." "Are you two getting back together?" she asked. "No chance," I said. "But why?" she pressed. "What happened between you two?" "She cheated on me, Tanya," I said quietly. "I caught them. There's no mistake. I saw it myself. There's no chance for us anymore. I just need to move on." In the following days, I prepared for my move, looking for houses online, contacting moving companies, and coordinating with the Phoenix office. I kept in touch with Judy, speaking twice a day. The hardest day came when Judy left for New York. I visited her to say goodbye, and Penny was there, too, distracted by preparing for the cruise and not paying much attention to me. When Penny opened the door, she smiled. "I miss you so much, darling," she said. I ignored her and hugged Judy tightly, longer than usual. Penny commented, "Too bad you don't hug me like that. Maybe it's good Mom's moving to New York. You seem confused about who you love." Judy and I laughed. Then Penny drove Judy to the airport. I promised Judy I'd call her daily. "I wish you'd call me too," Penny said. "This divorce will take forever, and by then you'll forget why you wanted it. I noticed you withdrew a lot of money from our account, but I took some too. Isn't that funny?" I walked away without responding. Penny was acting as if we were going on a honeymoon, oblivious to the reality that we'd be on the same cruise but apart. She didn't even consider that I might meet other women. 3 days later, I was ready for the trip. Tanya had organized the cruise perfectly. Before the ship departed, I called Penny. "Penny, I'm leaving for 10 days. If you need anything about the divorce, contact my lawyer," I said. "Thanks for telling me," she replied, sounding happy. "I hope this trip makes you realize we need each other." "Not likely," I said, chuckling. She laughed too. "Is it so hard to admit you still love me, Donnie?" "I do love you," I said. "I just wish I was enough for you." "You are enough," she said sadly. "I made a mistake, but it wasn't about love. It was just intimacy. Something drew me to Rick, and I don't know why. Maybe therapy will explain it. But you're the only man I love." "Ever heard you can't argue with nature?" I said before hanging up. 6 hours later, the ship was at sea, nearly out of cell range, when my phone rang. I smiled at the screen, watching the ocean pass by outside the window. "Where are you?" Penny yelled. "I searched the whole ship and you're not here. Who said I'd be?" I laughed. "How can we fix things if we're not together?" she said, voice shaking. "You won't let me come home. You avoid me and barely talk. I'm losing my mind. I love you, Donnie." "Okay, Penny," I said. "After the cruise, we can talk, but we won't share a bed." "I'll do whatever it takes to get back into your heart," she said just before the line cut out. I laughed as I crossed another state line. Then I called Judy. "Hi, Judy," I said. "Donnie," she said joyfully. "It's been so long since you called." "Almost 4 hours," I joked. "I think I made a mistake," she sighed. "Can you imagine living with 2 grumpy old ladies?" I laughed. Judy always made me smile. "Stop it, Judy. No one would ever not want to be around you." "Do you know what time does?" she asked. "They say it heals all wounds." "They're wrong," she said seriously. "I forgot my sister and I don't get along. Living with her and Mom is tough. They're so similar now and we just clash." I laughed again. "Do you check your mirrors to make sure no one's following you?" Judy asked. "It's tough to keep track of a truck from a ship," I said. She laughed. "I won't ask how you managed to get her on the ship without you. Remember those Calgon commercials? I had my own ancient Chinese secret. I loved those," she said. "I should go make some tapioca for Mom. Drive safe, dear." I arrived in Phoenix late the next day and parked my Mustang in the garage, relieved it would no longer face cold winters, not even thinking about the heat or sun damage. The next few days were spent organizing and getting the house set up. Once everything was done, the place looked great, but it didn't feel like home. It was just a space. The day before starting my new job, my phone rang. I answered without checking the screen. "Where are you?" Penny demanded. "Why is everything gone? You said I could come home." "If you're calling from home, then you're there. Isn't that what you wanted?" "You know this isn't what I wanted," she said angrily. "I don't want an empty house. It's as bad as this ridiculous divorce." "Don't worry about the divorce," I said. "Without solid evidence, your lawyer and mine said I was at a disadvantage. The case about your affair with Rick is closed." "Really?" she said, surprised. "Where are you then? I'll come to you." I filed again, and this time I won't be kind. She laughed. "What difference does it make?" Call your lawyer, Penny. He has the file. Not only will I get a divorce, but you might end up with almost nothing. And Penny, if you want to talk, do it soon. I'm changing my number tomorrow." An hour later, Penny called back. "Okay, Donnie, you win. I signed the papers." "How did you get the video?" "I hired a private investigator to go on the cruise. I knew without me there, you'd indulge yourself. I gave you freedom. You can't fight nature." I never watched the video. I didn't want to see someone I once loved with strangers, but thanks for proving me right. "Donnie, I can change," she said. "I don't think you can or should. Now we're both free. I can find someone who loves me the way I need." "You don't understand," she cried. "It's me. My father loved my mom more than anything, but he still cheated. It was just sex. What they had was real love. That's why she never left him. We're the same. You'll miss me. And when you do, I'll be here. But I'll make you regret it. You'll have to beg before I take you back." 3 weeks later, I made my usual call to Judy and noticed sadness in her voice. "Judy, what's wrong?" I asked. "I'm fine, just feeling a bit off," she said. "Don't lie to me, I know you," I said. "Tell me what's going on." "Donnie, moving here was a mistake," she said. "I used most of the money from selling my house to pay back taxes and make some improvements. Now I'm stuck. I still get Ed's pension as a monthly check, but it just covers my expenses. I can't afford to move again or buy another house. I thought living with my family would be great, but I probably just didn't want to be alone. I spent over 20 years living with someone." "It's good you still have family to stay with," I said. "Oh no," she said. "You don't know what Penny's been up to since your divorce?" "No, I don't," I replied. "But I wasn't talking about her. Why not come here and stay with me? I have plenty of space, and I'd love to have you around." "Donnie, are you serious?" she asked. "I can't live with you. You're my daughter's ex-husband." "Not a husband anymore," I said. "Why don't you come visit? If you don't like it, you can always go back to New York." There was a pause. "Okay," she said. "Maybe a week away would be nice. I need to make sure you're okay. I visited Penny and your old house. It's so different now." Judy came to stay for a week and enjoyed it so much she didn't want to leave. We spent time exploring the area, something I'd never done before. We also went shopping, and she made me buy things for the house. By the end of the week, my place finally felt like home. The thought of her leaving made me sad. She didn't mention it, so I assumed I'd be taking her to the airport the next day. The next morning, she made breakfast. "Why so glum?" she asked. "Our week is over," I said. "Will you be back to visit soon?" "No," she said, smiling. "Actually, Donnie, I don't think you really want me to come back." "Judy, you're my best friend. Of course I do. Would you come back to visit?" I asked. "No," she said, smiling wider. "Because if I visit, that means I left, and I don't want that." I smiled and hugged her tightly. We shared another long hug, both feeling something we weren't ready to acknowledge. The next morning, I woke early, and she made breakfast again. "Can't send you to work hungry," she said. "Besides, I need the car for grocery shopping." "Are you sure you don't want to drive the truck?" I asked. She pouted and held out her hand. The alarms didn't go off in my head. Although I never let Penny drive my Mustang, giving Judy the keys felt right. I placed them in her hand and was rewarded with a smile that brightened my day. After breakfast, we got in the car, and I drove to my office. I expected her to leave, but she came inside with me. She toured my office and met my secretary. Smiling, she guided me to my office. "Why aren't you with any of them?" she asked. "She's not my type," I said. She laughed and said she'd pick me up after work. That evening, we grilled steaks on the porch and watched the sunset. I noticed she had done more than just shop. She'd added decorations, a painting here, a trinket there, making the house feel more like home. I asked her about it and she smiled. "I was on my feet all day, but it was worth it if you like it." "I love it. It's beautiful," I said. "Wait until you see the new sheets tonight," she teased. I took off her shoes and started massaging her feet, beginning gently. As she sighed and relaxed, I increased the pressure, moving up to her ankles and calves, her head tilted back, eyes closed. I stopped there, surprising both of us. She smiled. "That was amazing," she said. I nodded, unsure of what to say. Over the next few weeks, our relationship slowly deepened. What I'd always felt for her came to the surface. Evenings with Judy became the highlight of my day. Sometimes we'd take long walks down quiet roads, photographing the scenery. Other times, we'd go to the city for movies or new restaurants, but we both cherished the quiet nights at home the most. I often suggested going out, afraid of what might happen if we spent too much time alone. Judy frequently asked for massages, sometimes for her feet, sometimes for her neck and shoulders. These massages grew more intense over time, Foot massages would start at her feet and end above her knees, while shoulder massages would sometimes brush the top of her chest. After about 5 months of living together, the turning point came. It was Judy's birthday, and I wanted to make it special. I bought her a diamond necklace and reserved a table at one of the city's most upscale restaurants. Dinner was wonderful, and a violinist played a playful jazz rendition of Happy Birthday. When I slid the box across the table, her eyes lit up at the sight of the necklace. She gasped and asked me to put it on her. When the small diamonds on the pendant sparkled between her collarbones, something shifted between us. I noticed her smiling and pointing behind me. Turning around, I saw the waiter. "I was saying, sir, that your wife is the most beautiful woman here," he said. "You're right," I replied. "Donnie, you should have said thank you, silly," Judy laughed. "Or at least corrected him. He thought we were married." "I couldn't say thank you," I said, "because it would imply I had a hand in your beauty. And I couldn't correct him, because I don't mind if people think we are. Are you ready for dessert?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "Can we take it home and eat it there?" Hearing her call my house home made me feel warm. It was the first time she'd done that, and it meant a lot. When we got back, it felt like the perfect ending to an amazing evening. Maybe I was getting older, but at 30, I felt content. I didn't need more. A year ago, if Penny and I went out and the night didn't end with intimacy, I'd be disappointed. But watching Judy walk in front of me, her hips moving gracefully under her dress, was enough. Her beautiful smile was the most fulfilling part of the evening. Unlike Penny's smile, which was more about teeth and lips, Judy's smile lit up her entire face and seemed to come from her heart. I cherished these moments and would never do anything to risk them. Penny's words echoed in my mind. The woman I should spend my life with looks like this. Just like her. She meant herself, but I realized Judy fit that description. She was more loving, and I could trust her completely. I changed out of my suit and hung it up. While showering, I replayed the evening's best moments and hoped Judy had enjoyed her birthday. When I got out and climbed into bed, the sheets were warm, and I wondered how Judy had managed that, until I realized I wasn't alone. "What?" I said, surprised. "Shh," she whispered. "This is special. I didn't want the night to end this way. I'm not my daughter, Donnie. I'm not a young girl anymore. But it's been a year since Ed died, and I'm still a woman. I've noticed you haven't dated or been with anyone these past 5 months. I think we both need this. Let's make 2 rules. First, no strings attached. It's just tonight. Second, in the morning, we forget this happened and never talk about it, okay?" "Sorry, but I can't do this," I said. "I know there's an age difference, Donnie, but I'm not that bad," she said. "And I get it. You haven't been with anyone for months. I know I'm not Penny." "Judy, stop talking nonsense," I said. "I'm glad you're not Penny. I survived that. What happened on that ship erased any feelings I had left for her." "Then why won't you?" she asked sadly. "I never said I didn't want you," I said. "It's your rules I can't handle. I didn't want to risk ruining what we have, Judy. But if we do this, it won't just be intimacy for me, and I could never pretend to forget it. As for commitment, we already have the waiter and everyone at work thinking we're married. I want that commitment with you, Judy. I want ties. I want real bonds." She leaned over and kissed me. A kiss so perfect, it felt like one you'd want to experience for the rest of your life. Our lips met softly, then pressed harder, tongues exploring, seeking connection, as if trying to draw out each other's essence. I wanted Judy more than anything. She was ahead of me, and I barely managed to slow things down. "I love you, Judy," I said. 5 months, she whispered. "I can't believe we waited this long." "We couldn't do it any sooner," I said. "We're not the type to just sleep around." "Maybe not," she laughed. But we both loved deeply and exclusively. The next evening, when I got home, dinner, and more, was waiting for me. I wanted to make sure last night wasn't just a one-time thing. She laughed and said, "Can you do that again?" We set a rule. Never mention Ed or Penny. The past stayed in the past, and we focused on the future. We shared so many new experiences that there was no room for the past. We did many things together for the first time. Marriage never came up, though everyone assumed we were that serious. We were too caught up in the present and planning for the future to dwell on it. Things continued smoothly until reality caught up with us. We made one mistake. When Judy moved in, we had to ship her belongings from New York. Penny, searching for her mother, visited her grandmother and aunt, who, unaware of our situation, shared the address. What followed was a series of unfortunate coincidences. One Saturday, I went shopping for a barbecue and planned a relaxing day with Judy on the deck hammock. While I was out, Penny arrived at our porch. Judy had no choice but to let her in, hoping I'd be gone long enough for her to send Penny on her way. Penny quickly realized her mom wasn't living alone and that her housemate was a man. Judy confirmed it and said, "I'll meet you for breakfast tomorrow." Penny drove off but spotted my car and recognized it. Unfamiliar with the roads, she got lost for a while. I returned home and Judy chose not to share any bad news until we had some time to relax. We were grilling steaks and almost completely at ease, with Judy playfully yelling for me to refill her drink when we noticed someone peering over our 6-foot fence. Penny's eyes were wide with shock and she began screaming like a banshee. We let her in, though she looked like she could burst. "I can't believe any of you," she shouted. "Especially you, Mom. What would Dad think? How could you get involved with your daughter's ex-husband?" "Penny, we're not married anymore," I said. "Then why are you here?" she demanded. "I came looking for my mom," she said, frustration in her voice. "I thought she'd help me find you, not replace me. I need some help." "What kind of help?" I asked. "I've lost most of the money you left me, and I'm close to losing my house. I was hoping you'd give me another chance." "I know how foolish I was," she said sadly. "Sorry, Penny, but that's not going to happen," I said. "You can't fight nature." "Yes, you can," she argued. "If you really try, anything's possible. I swear I've changed." I smiled. I was talking about Judy and me. It's in our nature to love deeply and stay that way. "We can't fight it. Go home. I'll put some money in your account, but you'll need to find a job." "Why can't I stay here with you?" she asked. "Penny, your presence only reminds me of what you did and makes me angry all over again. That's why I left the city in the first place. Do you need money or not?" "Of course," she said, then turned to Judy. "You're the one who doesn't want me here, aren't you? Mom, you know that if I had a chance to fight for him, you'd lose. And Donnie just goes along with you, like before. He's confused, thinking he loves you. But deep down, he still loves me. He stays because you're like me, but he knows you won't betray him." Judy and I both laughed at Penny's words. We had talked about her and our past enough that it no longer affected us. I would always choose Judy's kindness and calm personality over Penny's impulsiveness. Judy appreciated that she was the only woman who had my attention, and my deep affection for her was a powerful attraction for both of us, making our relationship vibrant and full of energy. Penny left the next morning, still angry that we didn't let her stay. It would have been too uncomfortable. Judy and I were content with our life as it was. In some ways, we felt partially responsible for what happened to Penny, but we truly just wanted to move on with our lives. Later, we discovered that Penny had been involved with multiple men in the neighborhood, including some friends. This became the subject of local gossip. One morning, Tanya noticed men leaving Penny's house and confronted them. She said, "You should be ashamed for embarrassing your wives with the neighbor's affair." One of them retorted, "Mind your own business and watch your own husband." They revealed that Rick had been the first in the neighborhood to be with Penny, which was why I divorced her and left. Tanya confronted Rick, and 2 days later, he confessed. When Penny came home and dropped her bags inside, she had an odd feeling. She thought about calling someone to lift her spirits, but as she reached for the phone, she saw Tanya sitting in the dark. "I thought we were friends," Tanya said, tears in her eyes. "We are," Penny said, shocked. "You had everything, a good home, a great life, a husband who adored you. Why wasn't that enough?" Tanya asked. "I didn't think he'd find out," Penny admitted. "I love him, but I couldn't control myself. It's probably in me, like my father. You can't fight nature. Once that desire takes hold, it can't be stopped." "Let me try to stop it," Tanya said, pointing a tool at Penny. Tanya called 911 and waited for the police. It was ruled a crime of passion. Rick promised to wait for Tanya and visit her every week. Judy and I eventually got married. Stories were written about us. Although more common now, it was still news when a woman over 40 successfully carried a pregnancy to term. We had twins. Death is always tragic, and we didn't wish it on anyone. Both Ed and Penny were victims of their own impulses. It's sad but poetic that Penny didn't learn from her father's mistakes and met the same fate. It turns out you really can't argue with nature. Life moved forward, marked by moments of quiet joy and reflective peace. Judy and I settled into a rhythm that felt natural, as if we'd always been meant for this chapter together. Our twins, bright and full of life, brought energy back into the house, their laughter echoing in rooms that once held only heavy silence. The past, with its shadows and betrayals, seemed like a distant storm we had survived, now only a reminder of the lessons it left in its wake. Sometimes, as I watched Judy play with the twins, or when we sat on the porch sipping tea in comfortable silence, I marveled at how life, full of unexpected twists, had brought us here. There were days when the echoes of old regrets threatened to resurface, but the present was far too precious to let them linger. Penny's fate was a tragic chapter, a reminder that some patterns were harder to break than others. It served as a cautionary tale, a stark contrast to the steady, unwavering loyalty that Judy and I now shared. We had rebuilt our lives not just on the ashes of past hurts, but on the strength of understanding, forgiveness, and a commitment to nurturing each other's happiness. The neighborhood eventually moved past the scandal, its gossips finding new stories to chatter about. Tanya, who had become a symbol of both betrayal and fierce love, eventually rebuilt her own life, far from where the echoes of that night could follow her. Judy and I grew older, wiser, and more certain of what we had. The twins, now teenagers, would often tease us, calling ours a late-blooming love story. But in those teasing words lay the truth. Life doesn't always go as planned, but sometimes what comes after the storm is even more beautiful. I never looked back with bitterness. Instead, I learned to appreciate the resilience it took for us to find each other amid the ruins. Judy would often smile at me with that warm, knowing look that had first captured my heart, and I would feel the unspoken bond between us deepen, a testament that, with the right person, you don't just find love, you rebuild it stronger than before.